and everything in the world just went bad. And Nathan Ake was right at the centre of it. Got the perfect one here. He's a honey badger. That ball is past him before he can say Mamma Mia. No, get off, lad. Right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Golden Sky. I'm Tom. Today, it is the player ratings for Liverpool's 2-1. Yes, 2-1 loss to Man City. It wasn't 3-1 in the end. Guys, I can't lie. Right now, I am feeling just depressed, to be honest. Just deflated and upset. And to quote a great man by the name of Stephen A. Smith, I think that's the only way that I can sum up how I feel right now. Because this day is one of the worst days I've had in a very, very long time. I am in no mood right now to do these ratings. We were so close. To having party ratings. We were like maybe 10 minutes away from party ratings, and it was big time party ratings as well. At one point tonight, you can best believe my undies were on my head. It was unbelievable. For just a smidge there, it looked like things were going to be amazing. And then we just threw ourselves off a cliff, and everything in the world just went bad. And Nathan Ake was right at the centre of it. No surprise there. So, I've got to do the ratings, unfortunately. Like I often say when we have a really bad result, there's many things that I'd rather do than this. Nothing quite says Sunday night to me anymore these days. I've subjected myself to this life. Then coming on after Liverpool have lost the game and having to rate the players from it for half an hour or so. I just love doing that. It's like a little extra little treat for me, a little dessert after I've been fed like a bowl of bone marrow, which is still to this day the worst tasting food I've ever had in my entire life. And my dessert is just a plate of poo, served up by Erling Haaland and Pep Fraudiola Pebblehead. Listen, we'll do the Muckery Index in a second, but I would just like to say that I would honestly right now, I would rather, I'd rather have a prostate exam from a gorilla right now or a bear than record these ratings. To be honest, I'd rather staple my tongue to a moving train, something like that, maybe. But nonetheless, here I am for your guys' entertainment, so I hope you enjoy. Let's start with the Muckery Index, and let's, of course, get these players on the board as well. So, the Muckery Index, right, there's a lot to talk about this time. I think for the first time since the Muckery Index has come into its fruition, since its existence, we had a lot of muckery today. Now, let's talk about it. So, the first incident is Salah getting pulled back in the first half by Bernardo Silva, who's the biggest rat in football history. Thought he wasn't going to be fit for this game. Turned out he was, and he proceeded to torture me for 90 minutes. So that was good. Cheers, Bernie, lad. Yeah, he pulls Salah definitely on the shoulder. They don't give a penalty. I can understand it. It was maybe a little bit soft. Then, second half, we go to Salah getting pulled back, this time by Mark Gehi. It's outside the box, and they don't send Gehi off. Again, I can understand. Guys, I would love to get really mad at these. I would really love it to get dead fuming at it and say, this is why we lost. It's because of the referees. At one point, it cuts to the ref. He stood in the tunnel with his shirt off, getting all his wires changed. I mean, that just sums it up these days. I watched the game the other day, and Michael Oliver's running around with a camera on his ear so he can do ref cam, which is just absolutely shite. It's just a joke. I mean, how did we ever get here with the refs? And then the end. Now, listen, City obviously were going to win anyway. They were going to win 2-1 or they were going to win 3-1. Szoboszlai and Haaland, they give us a little preview of the Super Bowl later. They start pulling each other. It's like a receiver and a cornerback trying to run away from one another as the ball trickles into the net. It was a bit like they were playing TIG or tag for any Americans out there. And they should have just let the goal go, shouldn't they? I mean, they really should. The referees there, they've got to just let that goal go. But instead, they make Craig Knobhead go and look at the monitor, and then he has to come, and then he has to speak to the whole ground. This is a stupid part of VAR they've invented this season, where the ref, who's like pure out of breath, by the way, just blowing out his arse, he's like, final decision is, I think that Erling Haaland has pulled Dominic Szoboszlai. Like breathing out the mouth, pure mouth breathing down the mic, down all at Anfield. It's ridiculous. And then they cancel the goal, and Szoboszlai gets a red card. So that was just another cherry on top there of an already shit afternoon. And now we miss Szoboszlai for 1 or 3 games. I don't know yet, to be honest. And I struggle with the rules for these things. I'm pretty good with the rules otherwise, but the red card ones, I can't get my head around them. The only way that can be described, and it's not to say that it was at Liverpool's detriment today, really, the VAR decisions and stuff, but it was just Wallace and Gromit, wasn't it? And what I mean by that is, it's like a Wallace and Gromit invention, VAR as a whole. I've always said this about VAR. Wallace and Gromit's inventions, they never quite worked. They were always a bit higgledy-piggledy and never quite worked in practice. They were always a bit useless. They didn't really do much. I think there was one where it put like jam on his toast or something, and it tended to work every now and then. But VAR is the Wallace and Gromit machine. It really, truly is put into professional football, and that at the end just sums it right up. And I know I've talked about referees there for a while, and it's not really to say anything about Liverpool. The penalty is a penalty. I'll talk about that in a second. I'm sorry, guys, it is. But VAR is just shit. It has to go. I have always said that about VAR ever since it first came in, when they put it in the Euros, I think it was, to way back in about 2018 or something, or might have been 2020. No, it wouldn't have been 2020. It would have been before that. 2018 Euros, I think, was the first time we saw it, and I remember thinking, this is going to be a disaster. And it's proceeded to be a disaster ever since. They got to take it out, but they probably never will. Nevertheless, let's move on to Alisson in the goal. I'm so annoyed today, guys, because I was so excited when it was 1-0. I was feeling so silly. I was ready to come on and really, have a laugh with you all and party. And now I just feel like someone reached into my mouth, pulled out my small intestine, and then deep fried it and fed it to me. That's kind of how I feel at the minute. Like, having to give you these, I just feel like I've got nothing fun to say. So let's talk about Alisson. You got to look at the penalty first. I think, to be honest, it's a bad decision from him to come out. Yes, I know Nunez is going to get the ball, but he's not. For me, he's not in a position where he's going to score when he gets the ball. If not immediately, he's at a bit of a tight angle. He's probably going to cross it. Alisson's there. He's a bit slow to come out on that one. Hence why the penalty. He's a bit clumsy. So there was that. I think that's bad from him. Now, he made some good saves. There's a couple in the one right at the start of the game when Haaland goes through, he closes him down. It's classic Alisson. He's on top of him before Haaland can even get the ball. Makes a save. It's brilliant. He made another decent save when Haaland hit one with his left foot at the near post. Another decent save. There was one from Semenyo in the second half where he had a shot and Alisson caught it. That was excellent. So he made some good saves. But also, on the ball, he looks so like shaky and rickety. He kicks it out for throw-ins all the time. He fell over at 2-1 down at one point on the halfway line, and then he goes up front. Obviously, we're trying to get a goal. He stands up front, and obviously City roll that one, and then eventually Szoboszlai gets sent off is the outcome of that. So that hasn't really worked out well for us. I don't particularly blame him for that, to be honest, but not the best showing from him. And it's difficult because he made some saves, but he just goes a bit nuts every now and then nowadays. Especially on the ball. Like when he catches the ball and we've got a chance to distribute. We were really struggling for the ball in the first half and he just kept smashing it long. Like he's Sam Darnold playing for, I think he plays for the Seahawks. I think. And they're playing in the Super Bowl tonight. I'm really trying my best here with the Super Bowl references. Like he's Sam Darnold. He just quarterbacks the thing. But he's throwing picks every time. It's getting intercepted every time. It's not going anywhere near any of our players. It's really frustrating. For me, I'm going to say 4. I just think costly mistakes from him today. Maybe that's harsh because he did make some good saves, but I don't know. Right, Szoboszlai, what an absolutely mental game from him. I mean, talk about a roller coaster performance. Right, let's forget the red card for a second and do the rest of the game, because he was honestly amazing, absolutely amazing, so good. The free kick is like, if you could bottle, or if you could personify or show in person happiness, that's what that was. It was unbelievable from Szoboszlai. He gets the free kick. He just launches it at the goal. You know it's a chance when as soon as the free kick's given, and he hits it with such venom and ferocity that it's passed on him before he can even move. He was stood there eating some spaghetti in the net, and next thing the ball's in the top corner, and Donnarumma is a fucking amazing goalkeeper, by the way, and that ball is past him before he can say Mamma Mia. It's right in the top corner, it hits the post on the way in, he's got no chance. I don't know why they only had two in the wall. The only explanation I can give is that they feared for their lives standing in that wall. It's like standing in front of a cannon. I don't blame them in that sense. It's a brilliant free kick. He's the best free kick taker in the world. It was pure reset, and let me tell you, if we'd have won that game, I'd be a damn lot more excited telling you about it than I am now, and I'm still quite excited. It still makes me a little bit tingly, but I can't go back and watch that goal with love in my heart. I can't go and relive it like the Arsenal game and say, oh, that was a lovely moment, wasn't it, because of all what happened after it. But what a free kick. He just cuts across the ball. It doesn't even swerve that much from like a knuckle point of view. It just cuts across it, and it swerves out to the post away from Donnarumma, and he hits it like a rocket, and it's in. It's unbelievable. And not just that, his general performance was amazing today. He's playing right back. Let's not forget, he's playing a position that isn't his. He's an amazing right back. He's really, really good at right back. He does a great job over on the left-hand side against Marmoush, who was utterly shite. I thought he was great. Then he did play Bernardo Silva on side for the goal. I don't blame him at all. I've got no qualms with him doing that. Again, he's not a right back. It's very, very quick, the moment that it happens in. And then obviously the red card. I've got no qualms with him really doing that either. He's desperately trying to, stop a goal, get us going to the last minute. He's sprinting against Haaland, which is like sprinting against Robocop, trying to stop the goal. Yes, they tug each other. He ends up with a red card. It's a disaster, but I can appreciate the effort at least, even if it is a little bit daft. So for me, he was on for a 10. I can't give him a 10 anymore. I did, however, love the celebration. I've been trying to... He clicks like this, doesn't he? It's like this one. And when he looked in the camera and did that, I did feel shivers all over the body. Do you know what I mean? If I don't care what your preference is, but when you see Dominic Szoboszlai look in that camera and click his fingers with his hair flowing after he's just knocked in a 30-yard free kick, if you don't get a bit tingly, then I don't know what to tell you. For me, it's a 9 for Szoboszlai. The free kick itself was worth a 10, but then just the red just took the shine off it a little bit, so he gets a 9, but he was amazing, and full credit to him. What a player. And it's such a shame that he's got to play it right back, to be honest. But there we go. Konate at centre-back. We'll try and rattle through these a little bit quicker. Some of these lads, they were Alisson and Szoboszlai, two of the most involved players in this game. Konate, I thought, did a good job, to be honest. He had Marmoush one-on-one with him quite a lot in the first half, with City going really with two up front for most of it. He just handled him no problem. He did have a very, very minor full rhino moment towards the end where he had Semenyo near him and he air-shotted it, but it actually forced Semenyo to have a full rhino moment. He was so confused that he also missed the ball, and it ended up all fine. Konate had it, no problem. I actually thought Konate played pretty well. And to be honest, I just thought Liverpool played pretty well. Maybe I'll talk about this a little bit more when I get to Van Dijk or someone like that, because he's the captain. But Konate, I think, did well today individually. Didn't really give it Haaland a sniff either. I know he comes away with a goal and assist, but I think it's not because of Ibu's poor play or anything like that. I thought he was all right. I think I'm just going to give him a 7, and I'm just going to crack on with Van Dijk. And this is where I'm going to talk about how Liverpool played a bit. Okay, so Van Dijk's obviously the captain, so this is not a reflection on just Van Dijk alone, but as the leader out there on the pitch, I think the problem today is, so that game followed the pattern of City's games this year that I said in the preview. If you watched the preview, you'll have seen me talk about it, that City in the first half of games are really, really strong. And they were today. We were quite poor in the first half. We couldn't get the ball. City were by far the better team. They probably should have scored. They didn't. We go in at 0-0. And then the second half we came out and it was like a completely different game. City's games have been like that so far in 2026. We had them dead to rights. We were really on top of them. We should have scored more goals. And then we finally get the goal. We were killing them. They had no legs left. I was watching all the players. O'Reilly was fucked. Bernardo Silva was. They were knackered. They were all done. But Liverpool, we drop off. We don't go for the kill. Back when Klopp was in charge, and I hate to do this, I really do hate to go into this revisionism and talk about Klopp all the time. But if Klopp was in charge there, we'd have gone for the kill, we'd have got the second goal, and we'd have probably won the game 2-0. What we did instead was, we got that first goal, and we said, right, there's 10 minutes to go. We're going to sit back, and we're going to defend this lead. And we can't play like that. City are a great side, so first of all, they can unlock you. They have good players. But we are not very good at doing that when we drop off. And we play so much better when we force the issue, when we really press a team, when we use the crowd, which was roaring, by the way. It was so into the game, as it obviously should be, Liverpool v City, 4:30 on a Sunday, after just seeing that wonder goal. I think Van Dijk has to... I think this comes from the manager. I think clearly this is an instruction from Arne Slot, who tells Liverpool, right, guys, we're going to sit back now, we're going to absorb pressure, we're going to soak it up, we're going to try and kill them on the counter-attack. But we don't keep the ball well enough, we just invite pressure, invite it until the other team scores. I think Van Dijk has to say to those players, look, forget this, we're going to keep the ball, we're going to go forward, we're going to press high, we're going to keep playing the way we are, we're not going to drop the intensity, we're not going to drop the tempo. And that costs us in games, and it cost us today, and it's cost us it's cost us 3 points on both United and Chelsea, and we're now sitting sixth in a real tricky spot. A really tricky spot, by the way. The Europa League is looking like it's rearing its ugly head, isn't it? So Van Dijk, I think his performance was pretty fine, to be honest. But I think I've just used him to talk about that. So I'm 6 or 7. It's tough. It is tough. I think I'm going to go 7. He was honestly alright. Okay. Kerkez I absolutely love. He's just lovable, isn't he? He's a complete and utter nutcase. I can't stress that enough. Every time I watch him, he's bananas. Complete, like, the saying is, he's got a screw loose. He must have about 5 loose. The hinges aren't even on in Kerkez's mind. The screws are just all over the place. The first thing, he does brilliantly, the first act of the game he had, when the ball goes through to Haaland, he manages to nudge him off balance a little bit, and then, like a little pit bull, gets himself right under Haaland and nudges him out the way for the rebound, wins the ball, knocks it out wide, and then he goes and just, like, buries Semenyo in the floor, just, like, kicked him into the floor, won the ball, got a free kick, won the throw-in for us, and screamed in Lino's face. It was just Tasmanian Devil let loose again. Do you know, if you actually had to compare him to any animal, I've got the perfect one here. He's a honey badger. If you've seen that video on YouTube, very old video, of the honey badger that does not give a shit, that's Kerkez. He will attack anybody at any given time. He's a honey badger. The 50-50 with... who was it on the right hand side? Was it Nunez, I think? And Kerkez, the whistle has gone. Kerkez doesn't know, and he clatters Nunez, wins the ball, and then he was still playing. He still tried to cross it in. The whistle had gone 30 seconds ago, but he's still going. He's ace, and the effort he gives the crowd a lot to cheer for. It's really good to watch, and he's improving so much. He's becoming an absolute fan favourite. And it's hard to talk so positively about the players today when we lose that game the way we did. But I thought Kerkez was good. I really do think he was good. So for me, he also gets a 7 today. Right. McAllister. Right. I'll tell you what was happening in my gaff watching that game. So my dad starts calling McAllister. I think he said Paul Daniels. Now apparently he's a magician who from back in the day. I've never heard of Paul Daniels. I have heard of Harry Houdini. So maybe I'll say Harry Houdini. The premise of that comment was that McAllister just disappears in games. He does tend to go missing. But I think this is also coaching. I think this is coaching because if you watch when Liverpool try and play out from the back, our midfielders, McAllister and Gravenberch, in certain games, not in all games by the way, but in certain games, they will stand behind their midfielders on purpose and not show for the ball. They don't help. How many times in the tactic videos have I said we can't play out from the back and our midfielders never show for the ball? And that's why we can't ever get out. McAllister has got to help in that first line. If you look at Bernardo Silva today, as much as a horrible person he is, he's a brilliant footballer and he's on the ball constantly and you cannot tackle him and he dictates tempo. He makes tackles, he attacks, obviously he scored a goal. He's brilliant. McAllister has got to do more of that, but I just worry about his legs. He didn't have much legs when he came to Liverpool, but honestly, he looks like he can't move nowadays. He honestly looks like he cannot move. He's like a wounded snail out there. He's like a slug in glue. He's not going anywhere fast. But that said, he did actually do a few things that were okay. Linked up well at certain times in the second half when we were sort of pressing the issue. A few little passes with his chest. But he doesn't do enough for me in the game. He doesn't do enough, and we need more. I think he was maybe the weakest player in the middle of all the players. When you're looking at McAllister, Gravenberch, and then City's Rodri, Bernardo Silva. I think McAllister's clearly the fourth best one of the four today. For me, he gets a 5. I'm worried about him. I am worried about him a bit. And then we'll talk about Gravenberch, who was very similar to McAllister for a while, but what I did appreciate about Gravenberch is at times he was getting on the ball and trying to drive us forward. He does it in a way, not with passing, but with carrying the ball. He often carries the ball. He won a free kick. Marmoush got booked. That was one instance of him doing it. He tries his best. Now, he was also very, very loose with the ball in the first half when we couldn't keep it, kept giving it away all the time. When we'd win the ball back, you could bet your ass it was given straight back to City within 0.5 seconds, straight back to them, and Gravenberch was culpable for that many, many times. But, again, second half, he improved a lot. I thought he was making tackles. I thought he was driving us forward well. He did hit a shot that was like, again, a preview of the Super Bowl. It was like a field goal. The thing went so high. It would have been an unsuccessful field goal, I think. It went nowhere near the goal, nowhere even close. That was really annoying. But I think overall he was a little bit better than McAllister, but not great today. I don't know what it is. Our midfielders just don't get on the ball enough. I need to watch it back in the tactics video to assess why this happens, but it's just the way it goes. They don't do enough. So for me, 6 for Gravenberch today. And Wirtz also, I thought, struggled in the game, to be honest. Not on the ball enough. I don't think it's... when I say struggled, I don't think... I don't mean to say, like, when he had it, he was a problem. He didn't have it enough, is what I'm saying. And I think City did a great job that their line, I said this in the preview as well, is so high at times, like really, really high. And they squeezed us really high up the pitch. And you could see... when we had the ball at the back, City was so high that there was no space for Wirtz or Gravenberch and McAllister to find the ball in the midfield, really. That was very condensed, the pitch. And Wirtz especially suffered from that. He couldn't find the ball in between the lines. Now, the way to combat that is to go over the top and force City to think twice about being so high, maybe drop off. We never did that. So Wirtz, I think, struggled to get on the ball. He did get it once in the first half. It came out wide on the left-hand side. He took one touch, and he fired the ball straight through to Ekitike. It was a brilliant pass, probably the best pass of the first half. And Ekitike had the one-on-one, which he, with Gehi, and the shot got blocked. But it was just a little, preview there of what could come from the Ekiflow Express if it gets firing. But it didn't get firing today. No one bought a ticket for the Ekiflow Express. We couldn't get Guardiola on it. And it just never really got going, did it? It was like out of coal or whatever. Other train metaphors I can give you. He did do a really nice backheel volleyed pass to Salah in the first half as well. That was ace, and then Salah just gave it straight away to City. That was good too. And second half he got on the ball a bit more, but again, not really with any major moments in the game. He had one shot that was a little bit feeble, got blocked as well. Donnarumma probably would have saved it. For me, I'm going 6 as well for Wirtz. Just didn't quite get on the ball enough for my liking. Right, Salah is next, and I think he had a weird game too. He was really, really bad for a long time. Again, his level is down, isn't it? It really is. Let's say it like it is, guys. When he gets the ball, he does lose it. I'm not exaggerating. 80% of the time, he goes back to City. It's really bad. I looked the other day. He's only scored 4 goals in the Prem this year, and I know that he went to AFCON for a month, but that is Salah's lowest return by some distance, and I can't really see him getting a whole lot more. Really, at this moment in time, he just doesn't like a goal threat whatsoever, does he? And those are the games where you'd see Salah do some magic for you in the past. Think of the goal he scored at Anfield against City, and I think it was the 2-2 game where he dribbled through the whole team and scored. I mean, that's classic Salah at his best. Doesn't like he could do that if his life depended on it nowadays. The only thing he could do dribble-wise is, if he'd had too much food in his mouth, or maybe when he's sleeping. It's just, it doesn't look right. But he does produce 2 of the game's best crosses. One of them was the cross to Ekitike with the outside of his foot, and I'll talk about this more with Ekitike's rating in a second, but that should have been a goal, and it's brilliant from Salah. And he also put another good cross in. I think it was McAllister who nearly got on the end of it, and Donnarumma made a good save. Punched it clear, and then we almost got a chance from it in the end. He did also, however, take a free kick, a direct free kick, not one that got rolled to him, then he could curl in. He took one from the wing. It was shocking, and this is why we've had Salah for nearly 10 years or so, and he's never took a good free kick from a dead ball one time. He should never, ever, ever take free kicks for Liverpool, ever. It should never happen for him. It went... Think of Szoboszlai's one. Salah's was basically the total opposite in all aspects. It just floated dead high away from the goal harmlessly. It was awful. It was like a punt. There we go. We've got the Super Bowl in again. It was like a punt. Yeah, so it's weird rating him, but for me, he doesn't do enough. It's a 5 for Salah today. And Ekitike, in a similar vein, for me today, doesn't do enough. And the chances he missed, I mean, the big chance he missed, is unforgivable, really. He's got to score that one. It was a bit like, for a second, the Holy Spirit of Darwin Núñez inherited in Ekitike. Is that the right way to phrase that? It overwhelmed him, and it came into his body because he got the ball. We're on a break. Wirtz is literally in. He's flying through on the right wing. Ekitike goes full Stevie Wonder mode. Couldn't see him. Passed it to Salah. Okay, then that was really bad, but Salah manages to dig out a cross. Ekitike, you're there. Head it in the net, lad. It's easy to head in. And he headed it so bad that it almost actually went in. But it didn't go in. It went wide. And he missed an absolute sitter there. And he's got to do better. He's got to score. That would have been a massive moment in the game. That would have put us 1-0 up. At a time earlier in the second half, maybe we could have kicked on a bit more. That's what you want your striker to do, score goals. Again, he struggled a little bit. Didn't get on the ball all that much. He did do a really nice little flick back to Wirtz in the second half, but Wirtz then had that shot from that Gay he blocked. And when he went 1-on-1 after Wirtz put him in the first half with Gay, he didn't get a shot off cleanly again either. So he struggled a little bit too. I said this in the preview if you didn't watch that, we are booked in for my hair to be dyed like his on Thursday coming up. So I'm less than a week away from having bleached blonde hair. And I'm going to focus more on the performance against Newcastle than the performance today when I'm thinking about that for the rest of the week, because that makes me feel like it's not as embarrassing than it already is. But I think 5 for Ekitike is probably fair today as well. All right, and then Gakpo, who for all his what do I call them, deficiencies in the fact that he's just not a very good winger at the minute. He did okay today, to be honest. Second half especially, he actually used the ball pretty well. There were times when he brought Kerkez into play, which we've all been saying, a criticism of Gakpo this season. There were times he used him at the right moments. He fired a nice ball into Ekitike, who then flicked it to Wirtz. I thought he competed well at the back post. I actually thought Gakpo was all right, but the problem we have in games like this is we're starting Gakpo and Salah, who at the minute are both negative level players to Liverpool. They don't offer us any quality really. Maybe you might get flashes, but it's not enough. They're not really dangerous. You're not excited when they get the ball. They're negatives for Liverpool. They're detriments to the team. And then, when you look at our bench, we literally have nobody on the bench. The squad is decimated, and I don't even know if it's due to injuries or just our squad is not very good. But there isn't anybody there. I mean, you've got Chiesa as the only attacking sub. He only got brought on when we desperately needed a goal again at the end. Gakpo got took off when we were trying to shore up the game. We bring Jones on. Like, this is the problem. City could bring on Foden. He didn't even play a minute there. They brought Shirky on. They had loads of other players sat on the bench there that they could have brought on. They didn't. And our squad is just not the same level. Our wingers are a real problem, and we need to address that in the summer. We need about 3, at least 2, I would say. But that said, Gakpo was not the reason why we lost today, to be honest. So for me, he gets a 6. And maybe people will be mad at that because people hate Gakpo, but I don't think he was a disaster. I actually think he was probably more effective than Salah and Ekitike, weirdly enough. The subs were subs. They came on for like a couple of minutes. Jones comes on again to try and shore things up, and the only thing Jones did that was really of any note for me is he got the ball and he had a golden chance to put Salah in. He would have been through 1-on-1. And he played such a crap ball that he intercepted it and we didn't get through. But he should have got that through. It was easy. It was so clearly on. And that was really bad. I think that was at 1-1. So for me, Jones gets a 5 for messing that one up. I've just realised Endo's chilling there at the end. How did he get on? How did he get on there? How have I only just noticed that? Endo, get off, lad. How did that happen? Goodness me. Sneaking on the pitch there. Didn't even notice. And I didn't even notice Chiesa on the pitch either. He comes on, he tries to put a couple crosses in. He's got about as much burst of pace as a hedgehog, this guy. He's not bursting anywhere. He's just walking onto the road. He's getting mowed over by all the cars. He's useless. He is useless. Let's be so real. He's useless. That's why he only plays 2 minutes. He's a break glass in case of emergency type player. But when you've broken the glass, you get the fire extinguisher out and it doesn't fucking work. That's basically what we've got, and the fire just consumes you and you die in the fire. And that's what it's like bringing Chiesa on when you're losing a game. We died in the fire today. Chiesa 5. He's shocking. And that, ladies and gents, there was no Endo. I don't know how he managed to sneak on that. That is the player ratings. A very, very somber edition of the player ratings today. I think that's the best way to put it. But that said, I hope that you did enjoy them. And if you did enjoy them, please do drop a like on the video. You've got to appreciate, from my point of view, how little I wanted to come and talk about that game some more. There, I'm just past anger. I couldn't really get angry at that game. It just felt so deflating. Such a shame the way it went down. So drop a like on the video. Let's try and get to 30 likes. We've been hitting it every video, so let's hit it again. Thank you very much for doing that, guys. Subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new around here, we're trying to get to 500 subscribers. Help me out and get to closer to 500 today after such a poor performance. That would make my Sunday a lot better. If you are going to watch the Super Bowl tonight, I hope that you do enjoy it. Podcast listeners, thank you for listening, I should say as well. Thank you for listening. 5-star rating and reviews, all that good stuff. Liverpool have ruined yet another weekend, but at least it's a Sunday afternoon, so the weekend is almost over. So the minimum amount of weekend time ruined there by the mighty Reds. We used to be the mentality monsters, but now the mentality mice, to be totally honest. And on that bombshell, we'll end there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.